This podcast is brought to you by Ignition from Inductive Automation. Technology is worth very little unless there's somebody there to implement it. We often overlook the human element in our technology discussions. As a matter of fact, there are many people who claim that we don't even need humans. I believe they are either short-sighted or just trying to stir up controversy. But humans, for one thing, develop technology, and for another thing, they implement it. It doesn't implement by itself. This is Gary Minchell, and these are my thoughts on what's usually on manufacturing and production or our technology. But several incidents over the past couple of weeks have got me thinking that it's time to address personal growth and productivity. Again, I haven't done this for a while. Typically, I stick with technology. But have you noticed either you are dropping balls lately or that others around you just seem to be dropping balls? They're not getting things done. There are things on a to-do list that aren't written down on a to-do list, and therefore they forget to do it. And when you follow up later, it's like, oh, I forgot. I'll get around to it. Recently, I teach a class at the Y, and they had promised to do certain things, and they moved us to a different room that's in a high traffic area, and people kept opening the door and looking in. What I teach is yoga, and yoga, is a little more serene than my usual soccer stuff, and interruptions aren't necessarily as welcome, and especially when we have everybody quieted down in final relaxation. So we talked about putting a sign up, and I talked to the person who does signs, and I talked to the person who does signs, and then I talked to my boss, and then I was outside looking one day outside of the door, and another fitness person came through and said, "Oh, I'm going to make a sign for you." So then I put it on my to-do list, and the next day I did a sign, and I put it up last night, and it worked just fine. What happened to all of these other people that said they would do something and they didn't? Trivial example, but you've seen it. I've seen it in manufacturing and in business that things just don't get done. Therefore, I thought I would take a second to refresh people on the methodology of David Allen, who wrote a book quite a few years ago called Getting Things Done. And so those of us who follow that methodology, more or less, are called GTDers, getting things done. Get it? I use an application. It's an app on my MacBook Air. It was on my MacBook Pro. It's on my iPhone. It's on my iPad. If I had an iWatch, it would be there too, but I haven't gone that far. But it's a digital assistant to help me track things to do. So let me just briefly go through the methodology. The essential thing is you need to collect all these to-do things in one location that is a trusted place, that you trust that it'll be there and you can refer to it, daily or hourly or whatever the case may be. At least at some point it's set up and it's running and it's there. It could be paper. It could just be a file folder. You just stuff everything in a file folder, or it could be, a computer program where you could keep a text document open and jot these things down. Something occurs to you, I need to send a message to so-and-so, but it's going to take time to compose it. So rather than composing it right there, we just put it down. I need to send that message. I need to finish that report. I need to call about a birthday party. I need to call to get my car fixed. I need to read this book or this article, or I need to call this meeting. Why do you need to call this meeting? Okay, anyway, you get the drift. All the things that pop up, all the messages that come your way that you need to respond to, everything, write it down, put it in a trusted source so that it's there. Then at some point in time, daily or a couple of times a day, we process all those things into their categories. Things I need to do when I'm running an errand, things I can do when I'm on the phone, and I have a block of time I set aside for phone calls. Oh, and there it is. There's my list of phone calls to make right there. I could just go zip, 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 and run through my phone calls. Report I need to finish. So I turn off everything, I finish that report. So it is, we process it, we put it into places. Maybe it's a project. The project may not be a huge project like a project manager. A project in David Allen's terminology is something that requires 2 or more next actions to finish. His example is always a birthday party. You don't just put have birthday party. No, you need to figure out your next action. Your next action is reserve a room. Your next action is to buy a birthday cake. Next action is to send invitations. Maybe before sending invitations, you need a to-do to compile a list of people who should receive invitations. Get the point. Next action. And then we sort it into it. And then at some point, as we sort through everything, we compile a list. And it may be a huge list. You may have 35, 40 projects. You may have 5 items in each project, maybe more, maybe 20, whatever, doesn't matter. And then at the end of every day, as you do things, you check them off. And at the end of every day, you look and see what are the most important things I need to do tomorrow and get those going in your brain. And then tomorrow you have written a little list of the top 3 or 4 items you need to finish first thing tomorrow or that day. And then you tackle those, and then you can go into email processing and other inbox processing. So, it's collect, triage, put it into buckets where you can write lists, and then you have your to-do list. Your to-do list while I'm at the computer, my to-do list while I'm on the phone, my to-do list while I'm running errands, and so I batch all that and I get it done. There's a little more to it than that, but not really too much, but there is more. So what you really need to do is to capture everything, and then so it's right there off of your mind on paper or digitally, and then you can choose, and then you can make your decisions on what to do next. And therefore, we don't get that period where we're lost. We finish something, we don't know what to do next. There's got to be a lot of stuff, and then I forget the important ones. Not if I write it down. Some interesting tidbits that go along with getting things done in the to-do list, and basically just a list of lists and so on. But every week, usually on a Sunday evening, step back and take a week-long view. What did I do last week? Was it good, bad? It's past, but we need to say, I wasted a lot of time on Wednesday doing such and such. And think about that and look at my to-dos and say, this next week it is going to be most important for me to do this and this and this. Write it down, and then you could start your to-do list right there on a weekly review. The second thing is every month. So taking a time at somewhere toward the end of every month and sit down and look at the month view. What's one month been like? If I, was I productive? Was I not? Was I emphasizing the wrong thing? And I really need to start emphasizing something else, and then taking a look at the most important things I need to do in the month. Annually, and I do this usually almost always between Christmas and New Year's, there's always some time in there I could take maybe 2 days and think about the long term and the bigger view. Am I doing the kinds of things I want to do? Do I need to, actually I've used that time to contemplate and determine it's time to find a new job. Where I am is not working for one reason or another, and it's time to seek out new directions. It's time to consider, new people, new tasks, taking a bigger view. Am I becoming the kind of person I want to become? So we take those bigger views of life and then boil it down. And from there, it's good to do that once in a while just to refresh. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in goal setting of that kind of thing. I do believe in an annual review where I say, am I the kind of person I want to be? Should I be doing more in this ministry, in this business, in this organization, whatever it might be? Am I spending enough time here or there? And start to reprioritize my life, if you will. Good time to look at my health habits. Am I doing healthy things? Which leads me to my next point on this whole idea of people and people getting things done. And as we talk technology, we forget about the people aspect. Did you know that most people, actually very few people, will take it the other way, very few people, despite knowing all of the heart healthy activities and things that we should be doing, are not doing them. Quitting smoking. A lot of people have quit smoking. I mean, I haven't for 40 some odd years, 50 years, I don't know, a long time. But anyway, if you're still smoking, stop. Stop. There are ways, there is help, there are things you can do. Just runs your health down. If you're not healthy, you're losing energy. And if you're losing energy, you can't tackle that to-do list, and you can't be with people you need to be with. You can't be the leader that you need to be or could be. So, stop smoking. We know about diet. No, I don't mean go on a diet. I mean eat healthy foods. Get rid of processed foods, get rid of white sugar and white flour. I happen to believe that whole grains are fine, and there are nutritional reasons that nutritionists who know more than I say that there's something good there. Lean protein is okay. Various people have different ideas on protein. Vegans get their protein one way, and carnivores get it another way. I just take the laid back approach. That's fine, whichever works. Make sure you get protein, and make sure it's healthy protein. Get some oils, get the right oils. Certain kinds of fish, olive oil is good, and there are other oils you can research. Nuts are really good for you, and nuts have healthful oils. So there's a whole new way of eating, and it's basically throwing some stuff out of your pantry, getting some new stuff in your pantry, fixing the foods that way. And the other thing that you really need to do in that regard, and I read a guy who's a lean manufacturing guru, and he talks about lean eating. And I think he took it, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he took it in a direction I would take it, is as in don't eat so much. Well, portion control is good. And if you do a healthy diet and don't overeat, you're going to get more energy and you'll feel much better. Oh yeah, sodas are another thing to get rid of. Exercise, next item. Exercise is good. Exercise to your particular body type and maybe your heart or joints or whatever it may be. Things that do stretching and strengthening, like yoga, weightlifting, Tai Chi, Taekwondo even, or whatever. All of those various things are good and fine, and do those. Do something aerobic, get up, walk fast, briskly, whatever that is to you, or run, or bicycle, swim. I've read good things about swimming, and then stuff that maybe is not so good, but I know guys that swim every day and enjoy it. But something that gets you moving is good for your joints, it's good for your heart, it's good for your blood pressure, and so on. So get up, get moving, get those endorphins in your system so that you have more energy to tackle the work that you need to do. So this has been Gary Minchell, and instead of talking technology, I'm talking about building a body and an attitude such that we can use that technology. And I hope this is useful. And I know it's been a lifestyle I've adopted, both the getting things done and eating and exercising, and it works well. So hope you pick it up and then go back and pick up your technology. Be analog for a little while, do some running. Be digital for a little while, pick up your computer, iPhone, iPad, whatever it is. So anyway, this is Gary Minchell, and this podcast has been brought to you by Ignition from Inductive Automation. Have a good day.